The night drapes itself around you like an ink-soft cloak, and each breath you draw ripples through the stillness as though awakening a slumbering pond. There is no beginning or end to this darkness, only the gentle curve of your exhale carrying away the weight of yesterday's hurry. In the hush, you feel your mind loosen like petals opening beneath moonlight, and you allow yourself simply to be. You walk barefoot along a path of smooth stones, each cooled by hours of silent sky. With every step, you sense the impermanence of all things. Yesterday's footprints have already vanished, and tomorrow's are yet to be imagined. Out of the corner of your eye, a lantern flickers beside a low wooden gate, its flame dancing in quiet rebellion against shadow. You pause, noticing how the light's shape wavers one moment, a perfect circle the next, an ethereal tear. It reminds you of the teaching that all forms arise and dissolve without pause. What remains when the shape slips through your fingers? Beyond the gate, a simple hall stands open to the night air. Paper lanterns hang at irregular heights, their rice paper skins glowing like suspended stars. You step inside and sit on a straw-woven mat, feeling the subtle creak beneath you. In this place of unadorned warmth, you recall an old Zen story. A monk asked his teacher, "What is the secret of the universe?" And the master simply poured tea until the cup overflowed, then let it spill onto the floor. "You are like this cup," he said, "too full of your own ideas to hear what is already here." You let the image settle, noticing how your mind has followed the pouring tea in slow motion, dripping drop by drop into open space. You draw your knees close, wrap your arms around them, and feel the quiet invitation to release every concept, every worry that clings like spilled tea onto the ground. What thoughts remain when the last drop falls? Outside, a breeze stirs the paper screens, and you sense the no-self hidden in each trembling shadow. You stand and cross the threshold again, walking toward a low wooden bench beneath an ancient cedar. Moonlight filters through its needles, painting delicate patterns on the ground. You place your hand on the bark and feel the bark's rough kindness beneath your palm. Like the cedar, you have endured seasons of hardship and flourishing, yet here you are, neither past nor future, simply alive in this moment. A small stone sits at the root of the tree, smoothed by passing feet over centuries. You lift it and turn it in your hand, marveling at how something so solid can feel so light when untethered from expectation. In the teaching of emptiness, it is said that every solid thing is composed of 1,000,000 passing moments, none holding onto shape. You breathe in deeply, letting your chest soften as though the stone's emptiness were also your own. Ahead, a narrow bridge arches over still water that mirrors the cedar's silhouette. You cross it slowly, watching your reflection rippling with each careful footfall. Where do you end and the reflected world begin? With each step, you grow more curious about the space between thought and breath, the silence that holds them both. Pause here. What do you hear beyond the echo of your own heartbeat? On the far side, a simple bowl awaits on a low table. You pour a cup of water and lift it to your lips. The cool liquid slides down your throat and reminds you of fluidity, the one truth that binds all phenomena. Nothing resists its course. It yields and transforms, carving canyons through stone and life through your limbs. Take another sip. Feel gratitude for the ease of yielding. As you stand once more, you notice a lone lantern floating down the stream beside the bridge. It drifts without effort, guided by the water's gentle hands. You remember the teacher's final instruction. When you learn to float like this lantern, without clinging, without forcing, you will return home to the heart you have always carried. Turning away from the water's edge, you carry that lantern's ease within you. Each step echoes softly on the moss-covered path, leading you deeper into the night's embrace. Here, nothing more is required of you than this gentle, unfolding breath by breath, thought by thought. You dissolve into the stillness and find that stillness has already found you. The forest around you breathes in harmony with your own, each exhale a whisper among the swaying pines. Soft earth cushions your feet as you walk, and the scent of damp moss mingles with cool night air. You feel your shoulders release the last threads of tension, unspooling down your spine like the tail of a drifting scarf. Ahead, the path curves gently upward toward a small clearing where a single cherry tree stands in bloom, its pale petals glowing silver beneath the moon's gaze. You settle beneath its boughs, pressing your back against the trunk's sturdy warmth. Petals drift down like silent blessings, each one landing and dissolving into the soil. In this moment, you recall the teaching of impermanence. Beauty arises, blossoms, then fades, yet, in its fading, it gives rise to new life. You watch a petal settle on your palm, its edges translucent and fragile. What beauty might you release tonight, trusting that something new will take its place? A soft chime rings in the distance, a bamboo wind bell set just beyond your sight. Its gentle tone shimmers on the stillness, guiding your attention away from endless mental loops. With each ring, you permit another layer of thought to float away until only the resonant silence remains. You breathe in time with the bell matching its rhythm. Inhale, ring. Exhale, hush. What space opens inside you when the sound and silence dance together? Turning your gaze upward, you notice a single star that shines with an unhurried steadiness. It does not compete with the moon's brilliance, nor does it fade at the rising of dawn. It simply is. Like the star, your own nature remains constant beneath shifting skies. You invite yourself to rest in that constancy, no striving, no hesitation, just the luminous truth of your own quiet presence. A low breeze stirs the petals at your feet, swirling them around like gentle dancers. You let go of any sense of direction or desire, following the petals' spirals until you feel unmoored from the world's demands. In that levity, you remember the anecdote of the Zen archer who, upon releasing his arrow with perfect form, said he had missed the target, and yet it was the moment he stopped aiming that he truly hit the mark. What happens when you release the arrow of expectation? Closing your eyes, you listen to the sounds carried by night air. A distant owl's soft call, the rustle of small creatures foraging among fallen leaves, the subtle hum that arises when the world pauses its busy striving. You rest in the space between these sounds, sensing the gentle invitation to simply be awake without doing. What is awake when nothing needs to be done? When you open your eyes again, the clearing feels like a sacred chamber beneath the heavens. You rise and trace your fingertips along a fallen branch, encrusted with tiny green buds, symbols of quiet transformation. You tuck the branch into your robe as a reminder that growth often happens unseen, deep within the shelter of darkness. Carry this reminder home with you as you walk. The path now leads downward toward a softly glowing pavilion tucked among bamboo groves. You step inside and find a single bowl of jasmine tea waiting on a low table. Its steam curls into the air like delicate clouds. You lift the bowl, bringing the fragrant warmth to your lips, and feel the tea's subtle sweetness nourish your senses. Each sip grounds you further, connecting body, mind, and heart in a single gentle moment of clarity. In the hush that follows, you sense the core teaching of no self. Like the tea's aroma, your sense of I wafts through the world, ever present yet shapeless, unable to grasp or define itself. You set the bowl down and rest your palms on the table, feeling the solidity of the wood beneath your hands. Even as forms arise and dissolve, there is a quiet foundation holding everything together, unchanging, unwavering. Stepping back into the night, you follow lantern-lit markers that guide you along the final leg of your journey. With each step, you feel lighter, as though the lanterns have carried away burdens you didn't realize you were carrying. Soon, the path opens onto a gently sloping hill, overlooking a still lake, its surface a perfect mirror of sky and stars. You sit at the water's edge, knees drawn close, and stare into that mirror. What do you see when the boundary between self and reflection dissolves? The world both within and without melds into a single tapestry of light and shadow. You allow the silence to enfold you completely, trusting that in this stillness, sleep will arrive, naturally, no effort required, no striving necessary. As the first tendrils of dawn's light begin to trace pale gold across the horizon, you nestle into the earth and drift, carried by the gentle rhythm of breath and the abiding peace of awakened night. A cool mist rises from the lake's surface, weaving around you like an unseen breath. You feel the boundary between air and water soften, as though two worlds are merging in silent communion. Inhaling deeply, you taste the crisp promise of morning's first light. The teaching of dependent origination comes to you here. Every sound, every ripple, every breath arises because of countless conditions meeting in this fleeting moment. What conditions have brought you to this place of calm? A heron stands at the water's edge, poised on one leg, utterly still. You watch its unwavering patience, how it waits without expectation, simply present for the unfolding of life. In that stillness, you recognize your own capacity to rest without hurry or fear. The heron's repose becomes your mirror. Where thought once leapt ahead, now there is quiet observation. What would it feel like to stand unmoving within your own mind's currents? The breeze shifts, carrying the scent of cherry blossoms from the clearing behind you. Petals drift across the lake like white lanterns, guiding you back to the heart's lantern, a steady light that never dims. You extend a hand toward the floating blossom, letting it rest on your palm one final time before it slips into the water and vanishes. In its disappearance, you sense the essence of emptiness. The blossom was never separate from the lake, from the air, from you. What is left when nothing stands alone? You rise and walk the narrow path, encircling the lake, each step forming a gentle prayer of gratitude. Stones beneath your feet are carved by centuries of pilgrims and wanderers who sought the same peace you now carry. Their silent footsteps resonate through the earth, weaving into your own. You pause before a weathered stone monument inscribed with a single character, Mu, meaning nothingness. You rest your hand on its cool surface and feel your thoughts quiet as you breathe in its simplicity. What arises when you rest in nothingness? Further along, a low wooden bridge crosses a shallow inlet where koi glide beneath the surface. Their vivid scales flash like fleeting thoughts, darting in and out of view. You lean over the railing and watch them circle, their movement a metaphor for the mind's habits. You imagine releasing each thought like a koi freed into an open pond. No struggle, no chase, just fluid motion. Let one thought go, then another. Observe the space that grows between them. What stillness emerges? Night's shadows begin to fade as a soft palette of pink and lavender paints the sky. You find yourself at the foot of a small shrine, its doors gently ajar. Inside, a single incense stick smolders in an iron bowl, its smoke rising straight and true. You kneel and bow your head, offering silent respects to all who have walked this path before you. In that bow, you fold into humility and remember the teaching of no attachment. All forms are transient, and yet every moment is sacred. What intention do you carry forward when world and self are equally fleeting? You rise with grace and step back onto the path, the shrine's quiet warmth settling into your chest like a softly glowing ember. Each breath fans that ember into a gentle radiance, illuminating the path ahead. You walk onward, guided by lanterns that now flicker against the dawn's glow, lighting your way back to the threshold of sleep. In that journey, you release every last anchor, confident that sleep will cradle you in its own perfect timing. And now, as your eyelids grow heavy and the rhythm of your breath deepens, you realize there is nowhere else to go. You lie down upon a bed of soft moss beneath the cedar, each needle a tender reminder of nature's lullaby. You let your body melt into the earth, surrendering to the gentle pull of slumber. Here in the embrace of impermanence and stillness, you drift beyond thought into the quiet heart of sleep itself. A gentle warmth stirs as the sun's first rays filter through the cedar's branches, painting your eyelids with soft gold. You remain still, listening to the chorus of awakening birds, a delicate melody that neither rushes nor lingers. Each note reminds you that every beginning is born from stillness, just as sleep births the clarity of dawn. What new awareness might arise from this tender transition? Slowly, you rise and stretch, feeling the tension of night's rest ebb from your limbs. You gather a handful of fallen needles and let them sift through your fingers like time itself, granular and fleeting. In that simple act, you remember the teaching of mindfulness. Every moment, no matter how small, holds the universe whole. What might you notice if you touch each moment as if it were a drip of starlight, you follow a winding path back toward the wooden gate where your journey began. Lanterns now rest unlit, their purpose fulfilled until night returns. You step beyond the gate and pause, turning once more to the world you leave behind. In the soft hush of morning, you carry within you the truth that home is not a place, but the gentle stillness you carry wherever you go. And as you walk now into the awakening day, sleep's residue lingers in your bones, guiding you with the quiet wisdom of dreams. You step onto the dewy grass of a meadow stretching beyond the gate, each blade bending under your bare feet, and then rising again with gentle resilience. A distant stream hums its steady song, and you follow its melody uphill, the world awakening around you without hurry. With every footfall, you feel gratitude for the simplest support beneath you, the soft earth that holds you, the breath that carries you, the present moment that enfolds you. At the stream's edge, you pause to cup cool water in your hands. As you bring it to your lips, you recall the teaching of compassion that just as the stream nourishes all it touches without discrimination, so your kindness can extend freely to every being. You pour the remaining droplets back into the current, watching them merge seamlessly, unremarked, yet essential to the whole. In what small act today might you let kindness flow without expectation? Continuing along the bank, you come upon a smooth boulder warmed by early sun. You settle atop it and allow the day's light to fill your chest, each ray like a note in a silent hymn. In this radiance, you remember a Zen tale of a master who, when asked how to carry wisdom, replied, "Hold it like water in your palm, too tight and it spills, too loose and it slips away. But held with gentle openness, it shines in your hand." Feel the warmth of wisdom here, neither grasped nor shunned. A dragonfly skims the surface, its iridescent wings catching sunlight in fleeting prisms. You watch its dance, marveling at how effortlessly it hovers between air and water. Its brief life reminds you that every moment, though seemingly small, shimmers with purpose. Pause and watch. What beauty do you discover in the detail of this instant? Rising, you walk onward toward a grove of birch trees whose white trunks glow like sentinels of peace. Between each tree, you see glimpses of distant hills veiled in soft mist. You breathe deeply, inviting clarity to drift into your mind like the morning mist dissolving under sun. Here in this liminal space between night and day, you carry the calm of stillness into the active world, knowing that wherever you go, the quiet heart of sleep lives within you, guiding every next step. You leave the birch grove and follow a narrow deer trail that winds through grasses still dotted with dew. Each step you take is measured, conscious, your footfalls lighter than a whispered promise. You become aware of the interconnectedness of all life, the dew that clings to each blade, the insects that sip their fill, the soil that drinks deeply of night's rain. This is the truth of interbeing. Nothing stands alone, and every living thing is part of the vast web that cradles you now. How might you honor this web with your every breath today? Ahead, a simple wooden bench overlooks a field of golden wildflowers swaying in the gentle breeze. You sit, and the blossoms lean toward you as if greeting an old friend. In their dormant seeds, and unfolding petals, you perceive both sickness and health, both conclusion and beginning and embodiment of the teaching of dependent arising, where every outcome is rooted in countless causes and conditions. Rest here a moment and feel your own unfolding alongside theirs. A low hum drifts through the air, an unseen cicada chorus rising and falling like waves upon a silent shore. You close your eyes and let its rhythm enter your bloodstream, uniting your own heartbeat with the pulse of Earth's hidden life. In that unity, you recall the Zen story of the calligrapher who painted a circle in perfect silence, then signed his name outside its boundary, realizing that the boundless can never be contained by any frame. What boundary might you release now, allowing the boundless sky of mind to dance free? Upon opening your eyes, you notice a small path branching off toward a moss-covered stone with an ancient inscription. You approach and run your fingertips over the carved characters Wu-Chi, the limitless. You sit beside the stone and consider how thoughts like leaves in autumn drift to rest before returning to soil where they nourish what comes next. With each exhale, you let another leaf of thought fall away, making room for the limitless within you. What might emerge from this newfound spaciousness? Continuing on, you come upon a hollow log, transformed into a resting nook. Inside, a single feather lies soft as a sigh. You pick it up and cradle it gently, marveling at its lightness and grace. In that moment, you remember the teaching that the weight of the world is borne not by clinging to burdens, but by releasing them with tender care. What burden can you set aside now? Knowing it will find its own place to rest, the trail opens onto a quiet stream where water tumbles over small stones, creating miniature cascades that glimmer in the sun. You kneel and let your hands glide beneath the surface, feeling the cool current slip through your fingers. Like that water, you too can learn to yield to life's contours, wearing down obstacles with gentle persistence rather than force. What obstacle might you soften by the steady flow of your own acceptance? You rise and follow the stream's course upstream until you reach a small shrine built into the rock face. Inside, offerings of rice and lotus petals have been placed by unseen hands. You kneel in silent gratitude and lay the feather before the shrine as a token of your awakening to lightness and release. In that gesture, you touch the heart of generosity, the giving that arises naturally when you realize you have nothing to lose. What gift arises from the openness of your heart? Leaving the shrine, you walk back through dappled sunlight toward the place where sleep first found you. Though the world has softened into full wakefulness, you carry the quiet heart of night within you, a lantern of peace that guides every step. Here in the seamless continuation of breath and motion, you rest in the simple knowing that each moment carries its own perfection. And with that knowing, you flow on awake to life's gentle rhythm. A shaft of morning light filters through a canopy of maples, dappling the ground like scattered jewels. You step forward, noticing how each leaf seems to greet you with a silent bow, as if acknowledging your presence in this living temple. In the teaching of impermanence, every moment transforms what was shade, becomes luminance, and what was stillness awakens into motion. What transformation might unfold within you, now carried on the gentle breath of change? You come upon a small stone well at the forest's edge, its wooden bucket resting beside a coil of moss-covered rope. Drawing the bucket up, you peer into the depths and see your own reflection rippling on the water's surface. A sudden breeze scatters fallen petals across the well's mouth, breaking the image into shifting fragments. It reminds you of the Zen anecdote where a monk gazed at his reflection until the mirror cracked. Only when the illusion shattered did he glimpse his true nature. What clarity might emerge when the mirror of thought gently fractures? You pour a ladle of water into your cupped palm and raise it to your forehead, letting droplets trace a cooling path down your skin. In that simple ritual, you touch the teaching of mindfulness. Every gesture holds infinite depth when attended with full presence. Feel each drop as a universe unto itself, dissolving any distance between body and mind. What universe opens within when you touch nothing but now? Rising again, you follow a narrow trail, lined with wild mint, its fragrance lifting like a whispered invitation. You inhale deeply, and the crisp scent calms the restless currents of thought as surely as a calm sea stills a boat. Ahead, you see a weathered tea hut built against a sandstone outcrop. A warm glow seeps from its open doorway, and inside, a lone attendant waits with a simple wooden tray bearing a single bowl of matcha. You step across the threshold, feeling the boundary between inside and outside dissolve. The attendant places the bowl before you and bows, inviting you to partake in the quiet ritual. You lift the tea, its frothy surface smooth as a still pond, and sip, sensing how the bitter sweetness anchors you in this unfolding moment. In the sharing of tea, both giver and receiver merge in gentle harmony, reminding you that compassion arises when self and other dissolve. What harmony flows through you when boundaries fall away? Leaving the hut, you carry the residue of that shared calm, like a soft ember in your chest. The path now leads you back toward open fields, each step guided by the silent wisdom of the world awakened around you. And as you walk, you discover anew the limitless stillness that breathes within every changing breath. A gentle breeze carries the scent of wildflowers as you leave the confines of the forest behind, stepping onto a grassy hillside that slopes toward distant mountains shrouded in pale mist. Each blade of grass bends beneath your feet, and you notice how the world responds to your presence with subtle movement, an echo of the teaching that all things are interwoven, each action unfolding into the next. What ripple might your next intention set in motion? You round a bend to discover a simple stone bench overlooking a hidden valley where rice paddies mirror the sky in quiet pools. You sit and breathe in the panorama, letting your heart widen like the open fields before you. In this expansiveness, you recall the Zen anecdote of the student who asked how to quiet his racing mind. The master led him to stand before a vast lake and said, "Be like this water, undisturbed by the wind, reflecting the sky without judgment." How might you reflect your own inner sky today? A flutter of wings announces a lone crane lifting from the water's edge, its graceful form carving an arc through the air. You follow its flight, until it disappears into the clouds, sensing the teaching of no self in its effortless glide, neither bird nor sky, but a living bridge between elements. You close your eyes and imagine your thoughts lifting like feathers, drifting upward until they vanish into clarity. What remains when the last thought takes flight? Opening your eyes, you notice a narrow mountain path, worn smooth by countless pilgrims. Stones rise like gentle stairs, leading you higher toward cooler air. With each step, you feel the teaching of right effort guiding you. No straining, no slackening, just the steady discipline of mindful movement. You match your breath to your stride. Inhale as you lift your foot. Exhale as you place it down. What steadiness grows within when effort and ease walk side by side. Higher still, the path leads into a cave mouth where soft light filters through a barred opening. Inside, the air is cool and hushed as though the world has paused to listen. You enter and see an old monk seated in quiet meditation, his posture straight as bamboo. He opens his eyes and meets your gaze, then gestures toward the far wall where simple brushstrokes depict a single circle. This Enso, he says without words, is not perfection nor flaw. It is the totality of existence in one breath. How might you hold the circle of your own life with both openness and acceptance? You kneel beside him and rest your palms on the cool stone floor, feeling the cave's stillness settle into your bones. In the silence, you sense the pulse of the teaching of dependent origination. Every breath, every heartbeat, every flicker of awareness arises because of infinite conditions. You inhale deeply, letting that web of cause and effect awaken gratitude in every cell. What gratitude stirs when you touch the roots of your own being? Rising from the cave, you carry with you the monk's serene presence. Outside, the world feels both unchanged and entirely new, as though the cave's silence has painted everything in softer hues. You follow the mountain trail downward, each footfall a gentle drumbeat, marking the rhythm of mindfulness. And with every step, you know that sleep's deep calm is no distant destination, but the ever-present silence beneath every breath, ready to receive you whenever you rest. A soft hush falls as you descend into a valley carpeted with violet wildflowers, their petals bowing in unison as you pass. Each bloom seems to whisper the teaching of interdependence, that beauty and life flourish only when countless unseen threads weave them together. You stoop to touch a single flower, noticing how its fragile petals are held aloft by the stem's quiet strength. What support upholds you in moments when you feel unsteady? You rise and follow a narrow creek that winds through the blossoms, its clear water revealing smooth pebbles worn by ages of gentle flow. You kneel by the bank and let your fingertips trace the patterns beneath the surface, sensing how every stone shape is a testament to patience and persistence. In this, you recall the Zen tale of the river that carved a canyon not by force, but by unfailing, unhurried grace. How might gentle persistence ease the edges of your own struggles? Standing, you lift a slender willow branch that arches overhead, its leaves brushing your cheek like a soft caress. In that touch, you feel the teaching of compassion, the tender reaching toward another without expectation or agenda. You close your eyes and imagine extending that same kindness inward, allowing it to cradle your own heart. What warmth awakens when you offer compassion to yourself? Ahead, a circle of ancient stones encloses a shallow pool of water that mirrors the sky's pale blue. You step into the circle, each footfall quiet on the mossy ground, and crouch beside the pool. You gaze into the mirrored sky and consider the anecdote of the monk who saw his reflection in water and realized that self and world are one seamless image. What insight arises when you dissolve the boundary between observer and observed? You rise and walk slowly out of the stone circle, breathing in the simplicity of sky and earth as a single embrace. With each breath, you feel anchored in the present, no longer chasing thoughts, no longer weighed by time. Here, in the stillness of wildflowers and ancient stones, you rest in the heart of Zen itself, carried gently onward towards sleep's deep cradle. A lone path of smooth river stones leads you onward, guiding your steps like silent metronomes in the hush of dawn. Each stone, worn and rounded by centuries of water's touch, reminds you of the teaching of non-resistance, just as the river flows around every obstacle, so your mind can learn to bend and yield without breaking. You step carefully, feeling the stones beneath your feet, and with each placement, allow tension to dissolve into the gentle support of the ground. What ease could you find by moving with the current rather than against it? The stones guide you to a small waterfall, its water cascading in delicate veils into a crystal pool below. You sit at the edge and let the spray mist your face, each droplet a cool punctuation against the warmth of your skin. In the roar of falling water, you discover the Zen anecdote of a master who climbed a mountain to hear the sound of a lone pine wind, not to escape life's noise, but to attune to its deeper music. What deeper harmony might you discover within the noise of your own thoughts? You stand and step beneath the waterfall, letting its gentle force press against your shoulders and crown. As the water courses down, you imagine it washing away every lingering trace of worry. In that cleansing torrent, you sense the teaching of purification, just as water cleanses the body presence, cleanses the mind. Breathe into the cascade, feel every atom of tension swept downstream. What clarity emerges when you let the waterfall carry away your cares. Emerging from the cascade, you wrap yourself in a soft linen robe offered by a nearby moss-covered bench. Its fibers, spun from natural threads, cradle you in natural warmth. You sit and wrap your hands around the cool ceramic of a teacup filled with chrysanthemum infusion. Each sip is a gentle unfolding of taste and warmth, reminding you that sweetness can arise even in simplicity. What sweetness can you savor in the quiet moments of your day? You rise from the bench and follow a carpet of ferns that leads into a sun-dappled glade where a single stone lantern stands sentinel. Its carved patterns cast dancing shadows on the moss, as if someone has arranged silent calligraphy across the earth. You approach and bow before it, honoring the lantern's silent guidance through darkness. In that bow, You recall the teaching of gratitude. Even the smallest light deserves reverence. What small light will you honor today? Continuing past the lantern, the path ascends gently to a plateau where lavender bushes bloom in neat rows, their scent drifting across the air in soothing waves. You step between them, letting the fragrance lull every sense into ease. Inhale the aroma deeply and feel how it soothes the mind's sharp edges. The Master once said, "When your mind withers like a dried leaf, let the fragrance of stillness water it." How might you water your own mind with the fragrance of calm? At the end of the lavender rose, you find a low pavilion draped with linen curtains that flutter in the breeze. Inside, cushions are laid around a shallow hearth embers, glowing faintly at its center. You settle onto a cushion and rest your hands in your lap, sensing the hearth's gentle warmth through the wooden floor beneath you. The firelight reminds you of the teaching of inner flame, the silent knowing that burns steadily beneath every distraction. What flame burns within you when all else falls away? As you sit in the pavilion, the sun climbs higher, its rays painting the world in gold. Yet within this shaded sanctuary, time appears suspended. You close your eyes and feel your heartbeat settle into the steady pulse of the embers. All forms may shift, but the flame of presence remains. You allow that flame to guide you inward toward the silent core at the center of your being. And now, with each breath deepening, you rest here in the marriage of warmth and stillness, carried on the gentle current of mindful awareness, knowing that wherever you go, that quiet flame will continue to light your way. You step down from the pagoda's hill into rolling fields of tender tea bushes, their fresh green leaves glistening with morning dew. Each row curves like the breath of the earth, inviting you to move between them with mindful grace. You kneel beside a low bush and gently pinch a single leaf tip between thumb and forefinger, feeling its delicate warmth. In that touch, you recall the teaching of simplicity, that true richness arises when you embrace what is here rather than longing for more. What simplest joy can you savor today? Rising, you wander along a narrow earthen track that threads through the fields. The faint hum of insects drifts on the breeze, companions in the work of growth. You remember the Zen anecdote of a farmer who sang to his rice paddies each dawn, and they prospered more than any who merely tilled the land. In that song, there was kindness and attention. You hum softly as you walk, offering your own quiet melody to the tea plants. How might your gentle caring nurture the world around you? Ahead, a small thatched hut stands beside a trickling stream. Smoke curls from its chimney, and you glimpse a wise elder tending a cauldron of broth. You step inside and bow, then accept a simple bowl offered with a knowing smile. The savory steam rises to meet your face, and with each sip, you feel nourishment, not only for the body, but for the heart. In the sharing of this humble meal, you sense the teaching of reciprocity. When we receive with gratitude, we are moved to give in turn. What offering of kindness will you share after this moment? You leave the hut and follow the stream uphill toward a cluster of ancient mossy stones arranged like silent guardians. You climb atop the largest and sit, letting your gaze wander over the verdant valley below. In that vast view, you understand the teaching of perspective that your own concerns are but a single leaf amid countless forests of experience. You inhale deeply, letting the valley's quiet vastness settle into your mind. What ease might arise when you hold your life within such spacious perspective? Rising once more, you continue down the winding path, carrying with you the warmth of simplicity, the harmony of attention, and the freedom of perspective. Your footsteps bring you ever closer to the gentle embrace of sleep, and you move without hurry, knowing that this seamless journey of presence will cradle you into rest whenever you choose to lie down and breathe. A soft hush settles as you leave the tea fields behind, stepping onto a narrow boardwalk that winds through a mist-laden marsh. Each wooden plank beneath your feet exhales a gentle creak, reminding you of the teaching that every sound is a note in life's vast symphony. You pause to listen. Frogs calling in distant reeds, the drip of condensation from cattail leaves, the low murmur of wind stirring the haze. In this mosaic of sounds, you discover how silence arises within sound, and sound within silence. What harmony will you hear when you lean into the spaces between notes? You follow the boardwalk until it ends at a weathered jetty reaching into still water that reflects the dawn's earliest light. You sit at its edge, legs dangling, and trace concentric circles in the water with your fingertips. With each widening ripple, you recall the teaching of intention. A single small act can influence the whole. You let one caring thought ripple outward toward yourself, toward others, toward the world. In what small gesture today might you set kindness in motion? A heron lifts from the shallows with delicate rustle of wings, its long neck curving like a question held gently aloft. You watch as it glides across the water, leaving barely a disturbance in its wake. In that grace, you perceive the Zen anecdote of the master who stepped so lightly that grass neither bent nor bruised beneath his feet. Each breath you take now is equally gentle, leaving you unmarked by worry. What lightness will you carry forward from this moment? Rising, you step off the jetty and follow a path carved from willow branches that form a natural tunnel overhead. The canopy filters the sun into a soft green glow, bathing you in the essence of renewal. You walk with measured steps, inhaling the subtle scent of new leaves. In that living corridor, you remember the teaching of rebirth, that each moment offers a chance to begin again, untethered from what came before. What possibility calls to you in the dawning light? At the tunnel's end, you find a clearing where round stones have been arranged in a spiral that leads inward like a labyrinth. You step into the spiral's entrance and begin to walk its winding course, each turn inviting you to delve deeper into your own heart's center. With every step, you let go of past regrets and future projects, surrendering to the sacred geometry of the present moment. What peace emerges when you release every step into the spiral's embrace. Reaching the center, you stand before a single pool of water cradled by the stones. Its surface is perfectly still, a mirror of the sky's pale promise. You gaze into it and catch sight of your own eyes, calm and clear. In that reflected gaze, you meet the teaching of no birth and no death, that beneath the shifting forms, there is a timeless essence that remains unchanged. What steadiness do you feel when you rest in that unbroken core? You step back onto the spiral's path and retrace your steps outward, carrying the pool's stillness within you. The world beyond the labyrinth seems unchanged, yet you perceive it anew. Each leaf, each shaft of light, each breath imbued with fresh clarity. And as you walk beyond the stones, you sense that sleep's deep quiet is not behind you, but always here, woven through every moment. With that knowing, you continue onward, guided by the gentle pulse of presence toward the seamless realm, where dreams and waking softly converge. A soft hush leads you onward from the labyrinth's edge, where the dawn's light drips like pale honey through young leaves. You wander into a grove of slender aspens, their silvery trunks rising in rhythmic clarity, as if echoing an ancient chant. With each step, you sense the teaching of right view, to see things as they truly are, beyond the distortions of desire and aversion. You pause to place your hand against a trunk and feel the steady pulse of life beneath its bark, both ancient and ever renewing. What clarity arises when you open to the world just as it is? Drifting deeper, you discover a pool fed by a gentle spring, its water so clear that every pebble glistens like a dropped star. You sit at the water's edge and let your gaze soften into the depths, watching as small fish trace invisible patterns beneath the surface. In their unhurried weaving, you find a mirror of the teaching of effortless action. True effort arises not from forcing, but from moving in harmony with life's currents. You lean forward and dip your fingertips into the cool flow, letting its touch remind you that wisdom is found in simple contact with what is. What effortless action will guide you in the moments ahead? You rise from the spring's edge, carrying with you the cool clarity of its depths, and continue along a narrow track that climbs ever so gently. The air grows crisp as you ascend each breath, drawing in a mingling of pine and earth. You notice how every inhale feels like a silent bow to the world's perfection, just as it is no need to change a thing. In that simplicity lies the teaching of acceptance. When you cease resisting, what arises, peace unfolds naturally. What might you accept today that you have been pushing away? The path leads you to a grove of ancient gnarled oaks, their limbs twisting skyward in silent testament to endurance. You pause beneath one, pressing your palm to its rugged trunk and feeling the slow pulse of seasons etched into its rings. In this living archive, you sense the story of impermanence, woven with continuity. Each leaf that falls returns to soil, feeding new life unseen. What continuity do you find within the changes of your own life? A soft rustle brings your attention to a foxglove standing nearby, its bell-shaped flowers nodding as though in greeting. You crouch to study their gentle curves, remembering the Zen story of the monk who tended a humble garden. He taught that tending with compassion was itself the deepest practice. In your own heart, you acknowledge the seeds of compassion that have been sown. How might you nurture them further today? Continuing onward, the trees thin to reveal a broad plateau dotted with smooth stones arranged like stepping stones across a sea of grass. You step from one to the next, each placement deliberate, each pause an opportunity to reconnect with the quiet center within. With every stone, you feel both the solidity of Earth's support and the lightness of mindful presence. How does your body shift when each foot is placed with full attention? At the plateau's far edge, you find a low pavilion carved directly from living rock. Within its cool recesses, a single incense coil hangs its tendril of smoke spiraling upward without haste. You light it and breathe in the faint aroma of sandalwood and cypress. As the smoke curls around you, you recall the teaching of non-clinging, even sacred scents must eventually dissipate. What attachments might you allow to drift away on this stream of smoke? Leaving the pavilion, you step into a gently sloping meadow, alive with the soft hum of bees visiting wildflowers. Their busy song reminds you of the teaching of right livelihood, that every being contributes its unique gift. You watch one bee move from bloom to bloom, giving and receiving nectar in equal measure. In that exchange, you sense the harmony of giving and receiving in your own life. What small gift can you offer now? As the sun climbs higher, you notice the air shift from dawn's cool hush to the warmth of day. You follow a faint trail leading toward a distant ridge crowned by wind-sculpted stones. Each step carries you closer to that silent summit where the panorama awaits a vast expanse of sky-meeting mountain river and forest in seamless embrace. And in that boundless view, you touch again the heart of Zen unity beneath diversity, stillness within motion. With this knowing, you walk onward, your next destination, the soft cradle of sleep, where these teachings will ripen into dreams. You descend from the ridge along a gentle trail carved by centuries of footsteps, each stone worn smooth beneath your careful tread. The air holds the warmth of midday sun, tempered by a soft breeze drifting off distant peaks, carrying with it the faint scent of heather and wild sage. You inhale this mingled fragrance, feeling how each breath both grounds and uplifts you like a silent bell whose resonance bridges earth and sky. What inner note will you carry forward when you breathe into stillness? A flush of butterflies rises from a patch of golden marigolds beside the path, their wings shimmering in delicate patterns. You pause to watch them drift among blossoms, each movement a wordless poem of grace. In their fluttering dance, you recall the teaching of present moment awareness. True beauty unfolds only when you cease chasing the past or fearing the future. How might you embody the butterfly's lightness by letting your thoughts settle? You continue past a grove of elder trees whose trunks are draped in lichen like ancient shawls. Beneath their branches lies a carpet of soft needles and fallen leaves, inviting you to recline and rest. You lie back, feeling the forest floor cradle your spine, and tilt your head to watch sunlight filter through rustling foliage overhead. In this embrace of earth and light, you sense the teaching of interbeing made tangible. Every leaf, every ray of sun, every breath you take woven into the fabric of the whole. What gratitude stirs as you recline in this living tapestry? Closing your eyes, you listen to the subtle symphony around you, the whisper of wind, the hum of distant life, the gentle pulse of your own heartbeat. You allow each sound to fade into the next until silence blooms at the center of perception. In that silent bloom lies the seed of deep rest, an invitation to dissolve into the quiet space that precedes thought. As your breath slows and softens, you drift toward that space carried by the gentle current of awareness itself. A breath of wind drifts through the canopy overhead, carrying with it the warmth of sun-heated stones and the faint sweetness of pine resin. You shift, rising slowly from the forest floor, and feel the earth's quiet steadiness beneath your feet. In that grounding, you recall the teaching of right action. Every movement, no matter how small, leaves its mark upon the world. How will your next step honor this gentle imprint? You follow a winding animal track that leads toward a hidden grove of magnolia trees, their white blossoms unfurling like silent prayers. Petals fall softly around you, landing on your shoulders and hair as if offering a blessing. In their gentle descent, you sense the truth of impermanence, and in each landing, the gift of presence. What blessing might you receive when you welcome change? A nearby brook glistens under shafts of sunlight, and you crouch to watch tiny water striders dancing atop the glassy surface. Their delicate choreography reminds you that balance arises from harmony, not force. You lean forward, tracing their paths with your gaze, and allow their effortless grace to calm the ripples in your own mind. What inner balance might you cultivate today? Walking onward, you enter a clearing where an ancient cedar root curls above the earth, like the spine of some great creature sleeping beneath the soil. You rest a hand upon its gnarled wood, feeling both its age and its vitality, timeless strength, woven through living growth. In this, you remember the teaching of resilience. True strength bends with the storm, yet never breaks. How might you bend gracefully in the face of life's winds? Continuing through the grove, you stumble upon a stone with a single kanji carved into its surface, Ray Gratitude. You pause, bowing gently to the symbol, letting deep appreciation fill your chest. In that pause, you acknowledge all that has brought you to this moment, every breath, every step, every unseen kindness. What gratitude arises when you honor the tapestry of causes that shape your life? Leaving the stone, you follow a path of soft moss that cushions each footfall like a whispered sigh. The air is cool here, perfumed with earth and green growth. You breathe deeply, drawing the forest's quiet essence into your lungs. In that inhalation, you discover the teaching of healing. Nature's rhythm can soothe every wound when you listen with an open heart. What healing might you receive as you rest in this green cathedral? Ahead, you see a glimpse of open sky through the trees, a sliver of infinite blue framed by living branches. You step into that light and lift your face toward it, letting warmth flood your senses. In that embrace, you touch the teaching of unity. No boundary divides sky from canopy, self from world. You stand here unbroken in the continuity of all that is. What unity do you carry forward now as you walk beyond this grove into the seamless flow of life? A gentle mist gathers as you leave the magnolia grove behind, drifting into a meadow carpeted with soft blue forget-me-nots. You kneel among the blooms, brushing your fingertips lightly across their velvety petals and feeling how each small flower leans into your touch without hesitation. In this tender moment, you recall the teaching of beginner's mind approaching each encounter as if for the very first time with openness and curiosity. What fresh wonder might you welcome today if you see everything anew? Rising, you notice a low wooden platform at the meadow's edge, its surface smooth from years of quiet practice. You step onto it and find a simple zafu cushion awaiting you. Sitting down, you cross your legs and rest your hands in your lap, closing your eyes to the world of forms. In the hush, you remember the Zen story of the monk who sat without moving for days, only to realize movement was nowhere to be found outside stillness itself. You settle into that stillness, now feeling how every breath anchors you more deeply into presence. What stillness arises when you cease seeking and simply abide here? A soft breeze sweeps across the meadow, stirring the flowers into a gentle wave. You sit unmoving, part of that wave, as the breeze carries away any last traces of expectation. In that effortless surrender, you sense the teaching of letting be things come and go. And when you allow them to be exactly as they are, peace naturally follows. You rest in this letting be, your mind a clear sky, where even the clouds are welcomed without grasping or aversion. When you open your eyes, the platform seems to glow with the day's gentle light. You rise and step off, feeling the meadow's support beneath each barefoot stride. You carry with you the simple gift of this moment beginner's mind, stillness, and the art of letting be. As your path leads you onward toward wherever the next step may take you, a gentle light filters through the chapel window, painting the stone floor in soft amber hues. You rise and step back into the world, following a narrow trail flanked by flowering dogwood, whose blossoms nod in quiet greeting. Each petal seems to whisper the teaching of interconnection, that beauty arises only when root, branch, blossom, and breeze meet in harmony. You pause to inhale their fragrance, and in that breath, feel the petal's essence mingling with your own being. What harmony might you cultivate when you remember that all life is one unfolding web? The path dips down toward a tranquil pond, ringed by cattails and lotus pads. You kneel at its edge, watching as a single lotus bud pierces the water's surface, petals still furled, but pulsing with silent promise. You recall the teaching of potentiality. Within each closed bud lies the bloom yet to come, just as within your own stillness resides unfolding wisdom. What potential stirs within you, now waiting for the gentle warmth of awareness to coax it open? Reaching into the water, you brush aside a floating leaf to reveal the clear depth beneath. You gaze into that mirror, slipping easily between reflection and reality until there is no boundary left. In that merging, you touch the teaching of no duality form, and emptiness self, and world thought and silence all arise together in seamless dance. You sit quietly, letting the pond's mirrored depths reflect your own boundless nature. What unity do you glimpse beyond the surface of appearances as dragonflies flit across the water's surface? You stand and follow a stone-lined causeway that leads you onto a small island at the pond's center. There a single weathered bench awaits under a canopy of bamboo. You sit and feel the island's gentle solitude embrace you, a sanctuary, apart yet woven of the same water and air that flows through all places. In this balance of separation and belonging, You sense the teaching of right harmony, to be fully present here and fully connected everywhere. How might you carry this balanced solitude into every space you enter? From the island, you cross back each stepping stone, a reminder of mindful intention. Choose each moment with care, yet release attachment to where you place your foot next. As you return to solid ground, the morning sun's warmth deepens, and you know that the journey of presence need not end here. In every breath, in every step, the lantern of awareness continues to glow, guiding you, teaching you, cradling you into the gentle heart of each unfolding moment. A breeze drifts in from a distant hillside, carrying the faint scent of pine resin and mountain herbs. You follow its subtle invitation, leaving the pond's embrace behind as you ascend a mossy path that climbs between twin cliffs. Each step is measured attentive stone beneath foot, moss beneath handbreath sink to the pulse of the earth. In this mindful ascent, you discover the teaching of right effort. When intention moves in harmony with your true capacity, every step becomes both practice and prayer. How might your own efforts find balance between zeal and ease? At the path's summit, you emerge onto a narrow ledge overlooking a vast canyon where mist swirls like living clouds. You pause, feeling the canyon's depth echo within your chest, the expansive space mirroring the openness of your mind when unburdened by expectation. You recall the anecdote of the monk who stood at a mountain's edge, declaring that only when the mind empties itself can it hold the whole world. Here you empty and hold the canyon's grandeur as both teacher and mirror. What spaciousness opens in your heart when you let go of all limits. A sudden rustle draws your gaze to a family of mountain goats navigating the sheer rock with effortless sure-footedness. You watch them glide up crags and down hollows, trusting instincts honed by generations of wandering. In their fearless climbing, you perceive the teaching of trust. Trust in one's own capacity. Trust in life's guiding currents. You inhale deeply, tasting the crisp air, and ask what courage might you summon if you trusted your own inner guidance as completely as they trust their hooves. You continue along the ledge, stepping carefully between silver lichen patches and ancient quartz seams that catch the sunlight like scattered stars. With each forward movement, the canyon's silent presence wraps around you, reminding you that even the smallest life is cradled by vast wisdom. As you walk, you feel the lineage of countless seekers beneath your feet, pilgrims whose names have long since faded, yet whose single step after another carved this very path. You bow your head in quiet gratitude for their unseen efforts, and know that every journey forward carries the weight and grace of those who came before. Turning your gaze back inward, you sense sleep's gentle call woven into the canyon's hush. Here, on this narrow ledge between earth and sky, you rest in the seamless union of presence and possibility, knowing that when you finally lie down, the canyon's vast stillness will cradle you into the heart of deep, dreamless sleep. A soft hush accompanies your descent from the canyon ledge as you follow a faint trail winding down through whispering pines. Each step carries you deeper into the forest's green cathedral, where shafts of dappled light reveal motes of dust dancing like tiny suns. You notice how the light itself seems to spotlight each moment's beauty, no less precious for its transience. In this, You recall the teaching of impermanence once more. Every beam flickers, every mote drifts away. What wonder might you find if you greet each transient spark as a rare gift? Deeper still, you come to a clearing where a circle of flat stones encases a gently burbling spring. You kneel to cup water in your hands and raise it to your lips with the reverence of a pilgrim tasting sacred nectar. The cool clarity washes over you, reminding you of the core teaching of purity that beneath all muddle and distraction, there remains an open well of calm. You drink deeply, letting each swallow dissolve any last echoes of restlessness. What clarity emerges when you drink from this spring of presence. Rising, you draw a smooth pebble from the water's edge and hold it up to the light, marveling at how something so unassuming can carry the memory of every current that flowed over it. In its silent history, you see the Zen anecdote of the teacher who traced each stone's journey through river and mountain, until the student realized their own life followed equally winding streams. You close your fingers around the pebble, feeling gratitude for the paths that have shaped you. What journey's wisdom will you carry forward? Following a narrow path edged by ferns, you soon reach a rustic footbridge arching over a trickling brook. You pause at its center, leaning on the wooden rail, as you let your reflection ripple beneath you. In that mirrored dance, you sense the teaching of no self. The self you imagine shifts and sways like the water's surface, ever changing, never fixed. You rest in this knowing, letting each ripple carry away the image of a separate you. How might you move through the day, unclaimed by any rigid identity? Stepping off the bridge, you follow moss-carpeted stones that guide you toward a cluster of tall bamboo. Their golden shafts stand in quiet rows, bending only where the breeze whispers through them. You slip between the stalks and feel the bamboo's flexible strength surround you, living pillars that yield without breaking. In their silent example, you discover the teaching of resilience. When you remain rooted, yet supple, you can weather any storm. What strength will you embody when winds arise? At the bamboo grove's end, you emerge into a sunlit meadow where wild iris bloom in pale purples and whites. You sit amidst them and let the petals brush your fingertips, marveling at how their quiet beauty needs no proclamation. In their simple presence, you recall the Zen story of the silent flower, that true teaching speaks not through words, but through still unfolding. You close your eyes, breathe in the iris's gentle fragrance, and rest in that unspoken wisdom. And here in the meadow's gentle cradle beneath an ever-open sky, you sink more deeply into yourself, carried by the forest's pulse and the earth's abiding hush, your final step before sleep's soft arrival. A soft warmth pervades as you rise from the iris-dotted meadow, stepping onto a winding track that leads you through stands of slender larches whose needles shimmer like pale green fire in the sun. You inhale their crisp scent, noticing how each breath brings a lucid clarity to your mind, like a bell's clear tone cutting through fog. In that clarity, you recall the teaching of right speech words, like scents on the air, can uplift or muddy the heart. What words will you let resonate today, pure and clear as larch-scented breeze? The path descends gently into a valley where a field of swaying grasses undulates like an ocean. You walk between their gentle waves, feeling each blade brush your legs as though offering a soft caress. In this tender contact, you sense the teaching of compassion extended beyond human bounds to every living thing that shares this world. You close your eyes and let the grasses whisper, lull you into a deeper empathy, sending thoughts of kindness out through every cell. What small act of care might you send forth, like a ripple across this earth? Ahead, an ancient stone circle stands at the valley's heart, its megaliths moss-clad and silent. You step inside and find the air palpably still. Time itself paused within these stones. You press your palm to one monolith and feel the slow pulse of ages beneath your touch. It brings to mind the anecdote of a pilgrim who, standing among similar stones, realized that every generation's hope and fear had left its mark here, yet none had endured. In that realization, you recognize the fleeting nature of every human striving. What timeless intention will you plant in this moment, knowing it may bloom unseen? You leave the circle with that silent resolution, following a narrow trail that climbs toward a distant ridge. With each step, you carry the valley's hush and the circle's still wisdom within you, an ember of quiet presence that will guide you home always. You follow the ridge's crest as it curves toward the sky, each footfall light, yet deliberate, carrying you into an ever-widening panorama of valley and cloud. The teaching of spaciousness unfolds here. Thought like mist drifts free across open air, nowhere bound. You pause and extend your arms, feeling wind lift you gently, as though you too are part of the vast expanse. In this open embrace, what freedom do you discover when you release every grip on should and must? Ahead, the path descends into a grove where moonlit stone lanterns stand half buried in ferns. You light one with a steady hand, watching the flame steady itself against the breeze. In its small, unwavering glow, you recall the teaching of singular presence. Even the tiniest light dispels the greatest darkness. You carry that lantern forward, its warmth kindling a quiet resolve that every moment, no matter how brief, holds its own grace. Which small light will you kindle today? The trail winds through moss-draped branches into a hidden glen, where a single silver birch stands sentinel over a shallow pool. You kneel and draw a line in the sand at the pool's edge, then trace your fingertip through it, watching the pattern shift and settle. In that simple gesture, you feel the teaching of impermanence and renewal. Patterns may change, yet the mind that watches remains ever clear. You breathe deeply and let the sands shifting remind you to embrace life's constant becoming. What new pattern might emerge in the garden of your own heart? As you stand, the lantern's flame dances upon the birch's pale bark, and you realize that, like the flame in the tree, all things arise together and vanish together in seamless dance. You step away from the pool, carrying its quiet lesson in your bones, and follow the path that leads you back toward home, back into the gentle cradle of sleep, where these teachings will bloom into dreams as soft and luminous as lantern light upon still water. Now, as the world around you brightens with the promise of day, you sink gently into the soft cradle of earth beneath your body, letting the teachings you've gathered settle into the roots of your being. Your breath slows to the natural rhythm of life's deepest current. Each inhale drawing in gratitude. Each exhale, releasing any last thread of tension. The stones, the streams, the petals, the mist, all that you have touched and touched you in return fade into a tender silence that wraps you like a whispered lullaby. You feel the pulse of presence beneath your pulse of blood, an unbroken heartbeat that resonates through every cell, guiding you beyond thought's edge, into the quiet realm where dreams take shape. In this gentle borderland, the lessons of impermanence become lullabies. The dance of form and emptiness becomes a soft, rocking cradle. The flame of awareness burns without heat, comforting rather than consuming. Here, there is nowhere to go and nothing to become, only the soft unfolding of sleep's embrace. Each cell sighs with relief, each muscle relaxes into the earth's patient support. The lantern of your own awareness dims to a glow that need not burn brightly to shine. It's enough that it's present. You drift on the gentle current between breaths, carried by the gentle wisdom of every moment you have walked. Let yourself go deeper, now beyond the final edge of effort, beyond the last echo of expectation. Trust the silent knowledge that you have always been carried, always been held within this vast, unhurried heart of existence. There is nothing left to learn. There is only this soft transition into rest. A hush lingers as the first birds greet the dawn, yet within you, the world remains wrapped in the velvet of night's wisdom. You rise from the mossy ground and follow a narrow deer trail that winds between clusters of ferns, reaching toward pale sunlight. With each careful step, you sense the teaching of right action, unfolding. Movement need not shatter stillness, but can weave seamlessly through it. How lightly might you tread today, carrying both gentleness and purpose in each footfall? The trail brings you to a shallow pool nestled among weathered stones, where water lilies drift like silent prayers. You lean close and watch as a single bud opens petal by petal, unfurling with unhurried grace. In this quiet bloom, you meet the teaching of awakening. Each moment contains the seed of full presence, waiting only for patience to release it. You breathe deeply, coaxing that awakening within your own heart. What gentle unfolding awaits you now? From the pool's edge, you hear the soft rustle of wings and glance upward to see a family of swans gliding across a mirrored pond. Their synchronized glide speaks of harmony born from unity, a living dance in which each being supports the other's grace. You imagine your own thoughts and emotions moving together with such ease, neither colliding nor clinging. What harmony might you restore when you let your inner currents flow in concert? Continuing onward, the path narrows and climbs between ancient cedars whose roots form natural steps beneath your feet. You place each foot with mindful care, inhaling the resinous scent that rises like incense in a temple. As you ascend, you feel the teaching of right effort grounding you. Each breath and each step becomes both question and answer, leading you ever higher into present moment clarity. What clarity awaits at the summit of your own breath? At the crest, you emerge onto a grassy knoll, overlooking a valley veiled in morning mist. You sit on a smooth stone and fold your hands in your lap, letting the cool grass cradle your feet. The valley below holds its secrets quietly as you hold yours. In this mutual trust, you sense the teaching of mutual respect. When the world reveals itself gently, you respond with equal gentleness. How might you meet each experience today with this same tender regard? A breeze stirs the tall grasses, and you let the sound ripple through your chest like a soft bell. You close your eyes and synchronize your breath to the grass's sway. Inhale as they bow. Exhale as they rise, entering a silent dialogue with nature's pulse. In this communion, you discover the teaching of listening beyond words. True understanding arises when you open fully to the unspoken pulses around you. What secret wisdom awaits in the spaces between breath and wind? Eyes still closed, you rise and walk to the valley's edge, each step carrying the ease of mindful presence. You pause where the earth slopes toward a hidden grove and feel its invitation as a gentle heartbeat beneath your feet. You step inside and find a circle of carved stones, each etched with simple symbols of moonwater leaf and flame. You touch one symbol after another, feeling the elemental harmony they represent, the fluidity of water, the stillness of moonlight, the growth of leaves, the warmth of flame. In their union, you perceive the teaching of elemental balance, that every aspect of life, though distinct, moves together in perfect accord. How might you align your own inner elements today? Stepping from the stone circle, you carry that elemental harmony within you like a hidden candle. You follow a winding path that threads between birch and cedar, discovering along the way small offerings, a single fallen pine cone, a cluster of mushrooms at the base of a tree, a feather caught in the underbrush. Each gift left by unseen hands speaks of generosity without agenda. You pause to bow your head in gratitude, acknowledging the silent giving that sustains your journey. What unseen generosity has carried you to this moment? And so, you walk on deeper and deeper into the heart of presence each moment, dissolving seamlessly into the next until the borders between path and pilgrim teacher and student blur into the gentle rhythm of breath itself, carrying you onward, ever onward, toward whatever reflection or dream will next unfold. A soft shaft of light filters through the interlaced branches overhead as you step beyond the stone circle, guiding you into a glade where silvery ferns unfurl like gentle fans in muted reverence. Your footfalls fall silent on the moss-sponged earth, and you sense the teaching of humility in this quiet hush, that even the grandest tree bows to the smallest fern. You pause to brush your fingertips across a frond's edge, marveling at the intricate lace of veins that carry life invisibly. What subtle gifts of wisdom might be revealed when you honor life's smallest forms? A winding stream threads through this glade, its water clear enough to see the rounded pebbles that ripple beneath. You kneel at its bank, dipping your hand into the current and letting droplets sift through your fingers like liquid pearls. In the stream's gentle flow, you recognize the teaching of non-attachment. Water does not cling to any bank, and yet it nourishes all it touches. You lift your hand from the water and let the last droplets fall back one by one each, a reminder that release is itself a form of nourishment. What burdens can you soften by simply letting them flow away? Rising, you follow the stream's course until it leads you beneath an ancient arch of intertwined willow branches, whose slender twigs brush your shoulders like consoling whispers. Beyond a glassy pool awaits a perfect mirror of sky and canopy. You stand at the edge and catch sight of your own reflection merging with the forest around you. In that single image, you meet the teaching of oneness reflection and seen our inseparable self and world intertwine. You inhale deeply, letting the cool air blend with the warmth of your breath, and feel a deep sense of belonging settle into your bones. With each heartbeat, you know that wherever you walk, you carry this forest's quiet unity within you, an ever-present sanctuary of calm and connection. You step away from the mirrored pool and follow a carpet of soft moss that leads into a grove of ancient yews, their dark trunks rising like silent pillars of remembrance. Each breath you draw here carries the hushed weight of countless seasons, and you recall the teaching of gratitude for time's passage, that every moment lived becomes sacred when honored. You pause to press your palm against the mottled bark, feeling the heartbeat of age itself, and let your own pulse slow to match its patient rhythm. In this shared stillness, what reverence awakens in your heart? Continuing onward, the path curves toward a small clearing where fireflies hover above a bed of foxglove, their bioluminescent glow weaving tiny constellations in the dusky air. You stand in their gentle light, noticing how each flicker arises and vanishes in silent harmony with the next. In this ephemeral dance, you meet the teaching of presence. True magic lives in the transient moment, shimmering only when you stop to witness it. You extend a hand, imagining the firefly's glow, settling upon your palm like living stardust. What fleeting wonder might you cherish today? Night's deep velvet envelopes the grove as you follow a low stone wall to where a single lantern hangs its frame carved with lotus petals. You light it, and the lantern's warm glow refracts through the carvings, scattering patterns of light across the surrounding trees. In that gentle illumination, you recall the anecdote of the hermit who carried a lantern through darkness, not to banish the night, but to guide his own steps. You lift the lantern and walk forward, each step lit from within. How might you bring inner light to guide your path when unknowns surround you? The trail descends now toward a hidden glen, where dew-laden spiderwebs drape like silk veils. You let them brush against your cheek as you pass each strand, a testament to delicate resilience. You remember the teaching that strength need not shout. It can be woven of the finest threads and still bear the weight of worlds. As you move through the webbed threshold, you feel any remaining tension slip away, leaving only the soft certainty of your own gentle fortitude. What quiet strength will you carry into the moments that follow? Beyond the webs, you find yourself back at the forest's edge, where a meadow awaits under the pale glow of early dawn. Each blade of grass stands tipped with dew, sparkling like diamonds along the horizon's soft curve. You pause and breathe in the new day's promise, feeling how the entire journey has been both mirror and lantern, reflecting your inner landscape and lighting the way. And as you step into the meadow's open arms, you know that sleep's tender return will come when you simply lie down. Breathe softly and let this unfolding peace carry you home. You step into the dew-kissed meadow and feel the cool grasses whisper beneath your feet like 1,000 soft sighs. Dawn's pale light unfolds across the horizon, inviting you into its gentle embrace. You pause and lift your face to the sky, feeling how each ray warms the curve of your cheek, reminding you of the teaching of receptive joy. Happiness arises when you open fully to life's simple gifts. What small blessing will you welcome today with a grateful heart? Ahead, a winding trail, edged with buttercups, leads toward a circle of mushroom-capped stones. You sit upon the largest, crossing your legs and resting your hands on your knees. Around you, the air shimmers with early light, and you notice the steady rhythm of your breath, unfolding like petals. In this seated stillness, you recall the Zen story of the silent garden. No words were needed to share its peace, only breathing in harmony with nature's pulse. You allow your own breath to merge with that pulse, feeling a deep alignment with all that breathes. How might you carry this shared rhythm into every moment? Rising, you follow the buttercup-lined trail toward a gentle rise where a solitary oak stands. Its broad canopy offers shade like a protective roof. You lean against its trunk, feeling the rough bark pulse with quiet vitality. In that contact, you sense the teaching of rooted presence, stability born from deep connection to earth. You close your eyes and let the oak's steady strength flow into you, anchoring every thought and feeling. What steadiness might you bring to the day ahead? Continuing on the path dips to a clear, shallow stream where water laps softly over smooth stones. You kneel and let your fingertips rest on the water's surface, watching ripples expand outward in perfect circles. In each gentle ring, you see the lesson of mindful intention. A single point of focus can send waves of peace through your entire being. Leaning close, you whisper a silent question into the stream. What do I truly need? And listen as the water's murmur offers a quiet answer in the language of stillness. As you rise from the stream's bank, you carry its whispered guidance within you like a hidden treasure. The meadow unfurls before you, a living tapestry of grass, flower, and sky. With each step, you know that presence is not only the path you walk, but the very ground that holds you. Here in the soft glow of dawn's first light, you continue on your heart, guided by the gentle wisdom of every breath and every moment, ever onward toward the quiet sanctuary of rest. Soft mist curls around your ankles as you leave the buttercup trail and step onto a slender boardwalk that winds between dew-laden reeds. Each plank beneath your feet murmurs a quiet welcome, guiding you toward a distant glow that beckons through the haze. Drawn forward, you sense the teaching of aspiration without grasping to move toward light, without clinging to the shadows left behind. What gentle longing might guide you when you follow a glow rather than chase it? Ahead, the boardwalk opens onto a wooden pier stretching into a mirrored expanse of still water. You pause at its edge, feeling the cool breath of the lake skirt your legs. You lean forward and watch as your reflection drifts with a small breeze merging skywater and self into one shifting image. In that convergence, you recognize the teaching of fluid identity. No fixed border separates form from reflection, self from world. You sit at the pier's end, legs dangling, and let the water's gentle undulations rock you into deeper presence. What fluidity arises when you allow yourself to be both artist and artwork, Rising, you step off the pier onto damp earth that yields softly beneath each footfall. A winding forest path threads before you, lit by fallen leaves that glow like embers in dawn's afterglow. With each step, you recall the Zen story of a traveler who found enlightenment simply by noticing the footprints left behind in soft earth. You smile at the footprints you leave now, knowing that each one is both evidence of journey and invitation to return again and again to this moment. What trace will you leave when you walk through your own day? The path leads you beneath a canopy of ancient maples whose branches arch overhead, forming a living cathedral of green. Shafts of pale gold pierce the leaves, landing on your upturned face like blessings. You stand still and inhale the mingled scents of earth and leaf, feeling how each inhalation weaves you more deeply into this sacred space. In that stillness, you meet the teaching of sanctuary, that true refuge is not found in stone walls, but within the heart that opens to welcome what is. How might you carry this sanctuary inside you wherever you roam next? Continuing on, you find a low stone bench carved with simple lotus motifs. You sit and fold your hands in your lap, closing your eyes to rest in the gentle rhythm of your breath. Here, between forest and field, you realize that every path you have walked has led you inward to the boundless meadow of awareness that needs no landscape to flourish. And as you breathe softly into that inner meadow, you continue onward, deeper into presence, farther from effort, carried always by the quiet wisdom of each unfolding step. You leave the boardwalk behind and slip between two towering pines whose bark is etched with centuries of weather and song. Their silent presence frames a narrow hollow where soft needles carpet the earth. You step into the hollow and notice how the world's noises dampen here, each footfall muffled, each breath sounding like a private whisper. In this hushed chamber, you feel the teaching of sacred space peace blooms, where stillness is honored. What quiet corner will you cherish within your own mind today? From the hollow, a faint glow draws you onward, firelight dancing just beyond a bend. You emerge into a small clearing where a single cauldron simmers over a low fire. An elder sits beside it, stirring the fragrant broth with deliberate care. You bow and accept a bowl offered in gentle silence. As you lift it to your lips, warmth floods your senses, grounding you in the simple perfection of nourishment. You recall the teaching of right sustenance, what we take in fuels every thought and act. What mindful choice will you make to nourish your spirit this day? Bidding farewell to the elder, you follow a winding root trail that spirals upward through a bank of soft moss and lichen. With each step, the air grows lighter, and the sky opens above you in widening arc. You keep pace with your breath, matching your inhale to the rising trail, and your exhale to each upward step. In this ascent, you meet the teaching of patience. Progress unfolds one careful moment at a time. What steady intention will guide your climb when life's path seems steep? At the trail's crest, you arrive at a clearing crowned by a weathered stone circle. Morning light filters through its arches, each beam like proof that darkness gives way to illumination. You stand at the circle's center and close your eyes, letting the radiance fill you from within. Here, form and light dance as one, reminding you that even the longest night dissolves at dawn. And as you carry that inner light forward, You continue walking ever deeper into presence, ever closer to the gentle cradle of rest. A soft breeze stirs the clearing stones as you step away, following a narrow path that winds through silver-green sagebrush. Each inhalation brings the plant's earthy aroma into your lungs, grounding you in the vast openness around you. You sense the teaching of spacious heart, just as the sky stretches without boundary. Your capacity for compassion and peace can expand beyond imagined limits. What vastness might you embrace when you open fully to life's horizon? The trail dips into a gentle hollow where dusky rose-colored clouds drift low, and you notice how their slow passage mirrors the rhythm of your breath. You pause and lift your face to the shifting sky, allowing its soft hues to wash across your awareness. In that silent drift, you meet the teaching of non-striving clouds accomplish nothing, yet fulfill their purpose simply by being. What might unfold naturally when you release the need to do and rest in your true becoming? Continuing on, you find a rugged stone stair carved into the hillside, each step worn smooth by countless travelers. You ascend slowly, matching each foothold with a steady breath, inhale as you lift, exhale as you settle. With every measured step, you feel the teaching of mindful progression. Growth is neither hurried nor stalled, but unfolds in perfect timing. How might you honor your own timing as you climb life's gentle inclines? At the stair's summit, you emerge onto a plateau dotted with wild thyme and creeping juniper. You kneel to cradle a sprig of thyme, its tiny blossoms releasing a peppery warmth under your fingertips. You remember the teaching of small joys. Greatness need not roar. It can live in delicate detail. You bring the sprig to your nose, letting its scent kindle a spark of appreciation in your chest. What small joy will you carry into the moments ahead? Rising again, you follow the plateau's edge until you arrive back at the meadow where your journey began. The soft gold of dawn has deepened into morning light, but around you, the world remains suffused with the calm echo of night's teachings. You pause and close your eyes, breathing in the unity of earth air and self, the seamless tapestry woven by every step, every breath, every moment of presence. And as you stand there, neither here nor there, simply here, you carry this quiet oneness within you, knowing that whenever you lie down to rest, it will guide you gently into the heart of sleep's deep embrace. A soft breeze carries you onward as you leave the familiar meadow behind, following a narrow ribbon of path that dips into a grove of scattering chestnut trees. Each fallen burr crunches softly beneath your feet, reminding you of the teaching of acceptance. Every season brings its own gifts, even in letting go. You pause to gather a single conker, smooth and warm in your palm, and feel gratitude for what remains when everything else has fallen away. What gift of presence do you uncover when you treasure what's already here? Stepping deeper, you emerge into a sunlit clearing where a circle of low benches faces a gentle waterfall spilling into a jade-green pool. You settle onto one of the benches, crossing your legs as the spray mists your cheeks. In the waterfall's melody, you hear the teaching of ceaseless flow. Life moves onward, without pause, carving beauty from persistence. You close your eyes and let its rhythm wash through you, washing away any sense of separation between sound and silence. What unbroken continuity do you feel when you merge with this endless song? When you open your eyes, a small boat drifts at the pool's edge just large enough for one. A slender pole rests within, inviting you to glide across the water's glassy mirror. You step in and push gently, drifting toward the center, where reflections of sky and canopy blur into one. In that drifting, you meet the teaching of effortless transport. Sometimes the path forward requires only gentle guidance, not force. You let your hands rest lightly on the boat's sides and allow the current to carry you. What ease might you welcome when you trust the river's course? Reaching the far shore, you step onto stones, smoothed by countless crossings, then follow a green tunnel, formed by entwined honeysuckle vines. The air here is heady with their sweet perfume, and you breathe deeply, tasting the teaching of gratitude in every fragrant breath. You weave through the tunnel until you emerge onto a terrace overlooking a vast valley painted with fields of lavender and rosemary. The purple blooms sway as a breeze drifts through, creating waves of calm that roll toward you like lullabies. What peaceful wave will you let wash over you now? You settle onto the terrace's edge, letting your toes curl around the warm flagstones. In the valley below, your eyes trace the winding paths of distant roads, villages, and forests, each a thread in the tapestry of the world. You recall the teaching of interconnectedness. Though your journey has felt solitary, every step was guided by unseen hands and lives you touched without knowing. You sit in silent reverie, humbled by the grand network that holds you. What unseen connection supports your own path? As the sun climbs higher, you rise and follow a hidden stair carved into the terrace's stone wall. Each step is bathed in warming light, inviting you upward to a small pavilion draped in white linen. You step inside and find a cup of cool cucumber water waiting on a low table. You lift it to your lips, tasting crisp clarity that enlivens every sense. In this offering, you sense the teaching of hospitality. The world meets you at every turn, with gifts sometimes unexpected, always generous. What surprise gift might you remain open to receiving today? Leaving the pavilion, you follow a winding path that leads you back toward the grove of chestnut trees. As you walk, you carry with you the waterfall's song, the boat's ease, the hive's sweetness, and the lavender's lullaby, all woven into the seamless tapestry of your awareness. And though the day has fully awakened around you, within your heart, the hush of night's wisdom remains a gentle echo that will guide each step until sleep's cradle welcomes you once more. You step down from the pavilion and follow a slender path that winds through mossy boulders and ferns still glistening with dew. With each step, you recall the teaching of gentle persistence. Water may carve stone drop by drop, but its persistence shapes canyons. You trace a fingertip along a lichen-clad rock, feeling centuries of soft erosion beneath your touch. What steady action might you take today that, however small, will shape your own inner landscape over time? The path opens into a twilight grove where lantern-hung branches bend low, their dim light reflected in pools of fallen rain. You pause beneath one lantern, noticing how the glow trembles, yet never falters, teaching you that even in uncertainty, your inner light can hold steady. You inhale slowly, matching the lantern's flicker with the rise and fall of your breath. How might you cultivate steadiness within when circumstances shift? Leaving the grove, you wander into a field of tall grasses kissed by moonlight. The grasses bend and sway, creating waves that seem to breathe in time with you. You step into their rhythm, allowing your body to rock gently, guided by the soft music of rustling leaves. In this living lullaby, you remember the teaching of surrender. When you yield to life's natural ebb and flow, you discover a harmony deeper than any struggle. What might unfold if you simply let go and move with the wave? Ahead, a solitary bench stands beneath the broad arms of an ancient oak. You settle onto it and rest your hands on your knees, closing your eyes to the sumptuous symphony of night insects and distant water. In this rich hush, you sense the teaching of fullness in emptiness. Absence of thought can bloom into a plenitude of awareness. You rest here, heart open, mind still feeling the world's quiet abundance cradle you as you journey ever onward. A soft glow of lanterns appears ahead, suspended from low-hanging branches and guiding your steps like gentle beacons through the darkened wood. Each lantern's flame flickers with silent rhythm, and you sense the teaching of guiding presence that a single light, however small, can show the way through the unknown. You slow your pace, letting each glow settle into your awareness until you are carried forward by their quiet chorus. The path opens into a clearing where a pool of obsidian water lies still beneath the lantern's reflections. You approach and kneel at its edge, cupping your palms to the cool surface and lifting a handful of liquid night to your lips. As the water's chill disperses warmth through your chest, you recall the teaching of reciprocity. What you receive nourishes what you can give. You let the last drop slip from your fingers back into the pool, sending ripples through both lantern light and shadow. Rising, you follow a narrow boardwalk that extends over a carpet of midnight blue flowers, their petals turned upward as though drinking the lantern's glow. With each careful step, you remember the teaching of careful intention, how each footfall becomes an imprint on the heart of the world. You let your breath synchronize with the boardwalk's slow creak, inhaling lantern warmth and exhaling any lingering hesitation. At the boardwalk's end, a low wooden door set into a hillside appears framed by moss and ivy. You push it open and step inside to discover a cavern lit by bioluminescent moss that spreads across the ceiling like distant galaxies. The soft living light pulses gently overhead, and you lie down on a bed of soft ferns beneath it, feeling the cool earth cradle your spine. In this subterranean sky, you sense the teaching of microcosm and macrocosm, that the universe lives within you as much as you inhabit it. Closing your eyes, you breathe in the cavern's hushed luminescence, letting its rhythmic glow guide your heart into stillness. Each pulse of light becomes a silent invitation to rest deeper, trusting that the world's vast expanse and the cosmos within you are woven of the same subtle fabric. In this union of earth and sky above and below, you drift ever onward, ever inward, carried by the soft melody of presence itself. Soft warmth radiates from the bioluminescent ceiling as you nestle into the ferns, each pulse of light echoing the steady beat of your heart. You let your breath slow as you surrender to to the cavern's silent cradle, feeling the tension of traveling melt into the earth's soft embrace. When you finally rise, you trace your fingertips along the glowing moss, marveling at how life persists, even in shadowed depths. In this unexpected bloom, you recall the teaching of hidden resilience. What thrives unseen holds its own power. You stand and follow a narrow stone corridor that slopes gently upward, guided by the moss's quiet glow. Emerging once more into open air, you find yourself in a glen, bathed by the gentle arc of moonlight. Dew-drenched petals of night-blooming jasmine nod around you, filling the air with their sweet perfume. You breathe deeply, letting each inhalation carry the jasmine's calm into your chest. In this fragrance, you meet the teaching of scented memory, how a single aroma can anchor you to peace whenever you remember it. What breath will you recall when sleep beckons later tonight? The trail here curves through a gallery of lichened oaks whose branches intertwine overhead, forming a vaulted roof of living wood. You step beneath their arches and pause to rest your palm on a gnarled root that juts from the forest floor. In that touch, you sense the teaching of ancestral presence. The roots of every living being weave into a vast lineage that cradles you now. You close your eyes and bow your head, offering silent thanks to all who came before. Continuing on, you arrive at a shallow brook whose waters reflect both moon and moss alike. You kneel and lift a stone from the current, marveling at its smooth surface and the way droplets slip from its sides like liquid pearls. You brush the stone against your palm, feeling its cool solidity, reminding you of the teaching that every solid thing is born of infinite flow. You place the stone back and let the water carry it downstream, knowing that release brings new possibility. Following the brook, you come upon a low ridge overlooking a vast plain where silver grasses sway under the moon's watchful eye. You climb to the top and stand the breeze lifting your hair as though offering a blessing. Below you, the plain stretches unbroken to the horizon, a living mirror of the boundless mind. Here, you meet the teaching of spacious awareness. Like the plain, your awareness knows no border. When you rest in open presence, you settle onto a tuft of grass and gaze outward into the night's vast tapestry, feeling how every lesson, every lantern, every echo, every petal has guided you to this field of quiet infinity. As your breath deepens and your eyelids grow heavy, you trust that wherever you lie down, this boundless ease will follow, inviting you ever deeper into the seamless heart of sleep. A soft breeze stirs the plain's silver grasses, sending ripples of movement across the landscape like whispered applause. You rise and walk slowly down the gentle slope, each step feather-light, as though leaving no trace upon the world. In the hush, you recall the teaching of effortless presence, how simply being without doing can transform every moment into awakening. What might unfold if you rest fully in the art of simply being? Below a circle of smooth river stones marks the edge of a hidden spring, where steam rises in pale spirals under the moon's glow. You kneel and draw in the warm mist, with your breath letting it fill your lungs and settle throughout your body like a balm. In this warm hush, you feel the teaching of self-nurturing true care arises when you offer yourself gentle presence and kindness. You place your hand upon the spring's edge and allow its warmth to seep into your palm, an intimate reminder that rest can be a sacred practice, as vital as any action. What gentle care will you offer yourself when you next find your path weary? Carrying the spring's warmth within you, follow a faint embankment that leads into a grove of willow trees whose long tendrils sway like silent bells. You step beneath their canopy and let the willow's soft embrace brush away any last threads of tension. Here in the willow's quiet shelter, you sense the teaching of refuge. Safe harbor need not be afar, but resides wherever you find stillness. You breathe deeply, entrusting every thought to the willow's arms, and walk onward ever deeper into presence, ever closer to the still point, where sleep and waking merge. You step away from the willow's gentle shelter and find yourself at the edge of a quiet pond whose surface glows with the first hints of dawn. Reeds stand sentinel around its rim, their slender forms mirrored in the water's glassy calm. You pause and touch the water's edge with your fingertip, feeling the cool ripple spread outward like a whispered blessing. In this simple gesture, you meet the teaching of reciprocity. Every action both shapes and is shaped by the world. What gentle movement might you set in motion today? Knowing its echo returns to you. A great heron lifts silently from the far shore, its wings unfolding like ink-stained fans against the pale sky. You watch its deliberate flight, each beat steady and unhurried, and recall the Zen story of the monk who learned nonviolence by observing the heron's careful step, never crushing a blade of grass beneath its foot. You breathe in time with its wing beats, imagining your own words and deeds as soft and precise. What delicate footprint will you leave on the lives you touch? Turning from the pond, you follow a narrow path that winds through a grove of bluebells, bowed under dew, each blossom a tiny chalice of light. You bend to inhale their cool, sweet scent, letting it fill your lungs and settle like feathered peace in your chest. In that inhalation, you touch the teaching of fragrant mind, the idea that our thoughts, like scents, linger long after the moment has passed. You smile and release a slow exhale, imagining any lingering worry dispersing on the breeze. What clarity emerges when you breathe out everything but presence. The path leads next to a field of tall barley, its slender stalks swaying in soft waves as though the earth itself breathes beneath them. You step into the field, letting the barley brush against your robes. Here you sense the teaching of community. Each stalk stands alone, yet leans on its neighbors for support, rising together in silent solidarity. You pause in the center of the field, closing your eyes and feeling the subtle nudges of stalks all around you. In their gentle support, you recognize your own belonging in life's vast weave. What comfort arises when you remember you are never truly alone. Leaving the barley behind you, crest a low hill where an ancient stone circle greets the dawn's pale glow. You step inside, feeling the way the cool earth beneath your feet hums with memory. Pilgrims past and present converging in a moment outside time. You stand at the circle's heart and raise your arms wide, inviting the wind to circle you as a silent chant. In that open gesture, you honor the teaching of spacious heart. When you open fully, every direction becomes home. What expansiveness might you carry into your day? When you keep your heart unclenched, with gratitude for the circle's sanctuary, you turn and descend into a valley dotted with wild strawberries whose tiny fruits hide beneath broad green leaves. You crouch and find a single ripe berry, its fragrance both sweet and bright. You taste its flavor, sun-warmed juice on your tongue, and feel delight spark through your senses. In that playful joy, you discover the teaching of adult wonder. True wisdom does not scoff at simplicity, but celebrates it fully. What small marvel will you notice today if you allow your inner child to awaken? Rising again, you follow a glistening rivulet that threads through the valley floor, its waters laughing gently over smooth stones. You kneel at the bank and watch as a leaf drifts downstream, carried by the current without effort or direction. In its effortless passage, you meet the teaching of surrender. Sometimes the only right action is to let go and trust the flow. You dip your hand in and set a small pebble afloat, watching it bob and then settle. As it disappears around a bend, you release a final worry, knowing that whatever remains will find its own way. Beyond the rivulet, a temple bell rings somewhere on a distant rise, its tone rich and resonant. You pause and listen, feeling the vibration through chest and bone, as though the world itself were sighing. You recall the teaching that sound like thought arises and fades in equal measure, yet every echo leaves a moment of silence. You stand, greeting the bell's final reverberation, resting in the hush it leaves behind. What stillness might greet you now if you welcome each ending as the seed of new peace? Following the sound, you climb gentle stone steps that lead to a veranda overlooking a broad plain, where morning mist still clings to rolling grasses. You step onto its wooden planks and sit crossing your legs as the sun climbs higher and warms your skin. In this warm embrace, you sense the teaching of right balance: heat without scorch, rest without stagnation, activity without agitation. You place your palms on your knees and feel warmth spread through your body, anchoring you in calm vitality. What balanced step will you take next? Guided by this warmth, a soft shimmer of heat rises from the sun-warmed veranda as you stand and step down onto a moss-covered path leading toward a grove of silken willows. Their trailing branches sway in a slow, liquid rhythm, an invitation to move with both grace and intention. You follow their gentle sway, matching each step to their dance inhale as they bow, exhale as they rise. In this co-movement, you touch the teaching of mutual harmony. When you align your own pace with nature's pulse, every moment becomes a living conversation. What harmony will you weave today by listening first, then moving in accord? Passing beneath the willows, you enter a clearing where a single stone circle lies half buried in soft earth. In its center, a shallow bowl carved from marble catches a single shaft of sunlight, igniting its surface like a living flame. You kneel before it, placing both palms gently at its rim. As you inhale, you draw the warmth into your chest. As you exhale, you let its light spread through every limb. In this silent ritual, you honor the teaching of reciprocal illumination. When you receive fully, you are empowered to reflect that light outward. What light will you mirror back into the world from your own heart? You rise and follow a narrow creek whose waters burble over jade-green stones. Stooping, you fill a leaf cup with the cool current and lift it to your lips tasting the forest's purest offering. The water's clarity reminds you of the teaching of unobstructed vision. When the heart is clear, judgment falls away, and pure seeing emerges. You drink deeply, letting the water wash away anything that clouds your perception. What clarity will guide your vision when you look upon others? Continuing upstream, you come upon a wooden bridge arched over a swirling eddy. You pause at its midpoint, resting both hands on the railing as you gaze into the water's whirl. In its circling motion, you perceive the teaching of cyclical renewal. Every ending bends back into a beginning. Every loss ripens into new growth. You trace the water's swirl with your gaze until it stills beyond sight. Then lift your head, trusting that your own cycles of effort and rest of arrival and departure flow in that same unbroken rhythm. How might you honor your own cycles today? Allowing each phase its full expression. Stepping off the bridge, you follow a deer-worn trail that leads into a grove of ancient pines. Their tall trunks soar like silent sentinels against the sky. You reach out to touch one, feeling its weathered bark yield beneath your palm, rough yet alive with hidden sap. In that touch, you recall the teaching of enduring presence. Like the pine standing through seasons, your own steadiness supports whatever storms may come. You stand quietly, aligning your breath with the tree's silent heartbeat, until you too feel rooted and vast. From the pines, a low murmuring leads you to a waterfall at the grove's edge. The cascade tumbles over mossy stones into a clear pool. You step close and let the fine mist kiss your face, each droplet a cool caress erasing fatigue. In the waterfall's unceasing flow, you encounter the teaching of continuous renewal. No drop halts its journey, and no thought escapes the river of awareness. You cup your hands beneath the spray, releasing every last tether of worry into the falling water. What renewal will you welcome when you surrender to life's ever-present flow? Wiping the water from your face, you turn toward a final path that leads upward through ferns and fallen needles. Each step brings you closer to a gentle rise, crowned by a single wooden gate. Beyond it, the forest opens onto rolling fields, bathed now in full morning light. You step through the gate, pausing to bow in gratitude to the trees, the stones, the water, and every unseen presence that guided you here. In that bow, you carry forward the teachings of harmony, clarity, renewal, and presence. And as you walk down the sunlit path toward the meadow's edge, you know that whenever you breathe, you return home to the quiet heart where these lessons live, ever ready to cradle you in peace. You follow the sunlit path as it curves through fields of tall grass, trembling in a soft breeze. Each blade bows in silent greeting, reminding you of the teaching of mutual respect. Every being, no matter how small, honors your presence when you move with courtesy and kindness. You step lightly, mindful of the life beneath your feet, and feel how your own kindness echoes back through the world. Ahead, a narrow lane of weathered fence posts leads you toward a distant orchard heavy with fruit. You wander between the trees, their branches laden with ripening bounty. You lift a single pear and inhale its sweet fragrance before taking a gentle bite. The fruit's crisp juice floods your senses, teaching you the lesson of savoring abundance in the present moment. What simple gift of life might you taste today? if you lean fully into its sweetness. With the pear's sweetness still lingering, you continue on until the orchard opens onto a gentle hill crowned by a solitary bench. You sit and close your eyes, letting the warmth of the sun and the echo of birdsong wash over you. In this peaceful pause, you sense the teaching of restorative stillness. Sometimes the most profound action is to rest, allowing body and mind to integrate every lesson you've gathered. You breathe deeply, sinking into the moment's calm. As the breeze caresses your skin, you stand and wander down the hill's far side where wildflowers bloom in riotous color. You reach out to touch a bright poppy, its petals as delicate as tissue. In their fragility, you meet the teaching of tender care, that beauty thrives when treated with loving gentleness. You brush your fingertips against the petals and carry that softness in your heart. The path now leads you back toward the willow grove, where your journey first began. Each step carries the collected warmth of orchard sun, the pond's cool reflection, the cave's luminescence, and the orchard's sweetness. The world around you feels both familiar and newly alive, infused with the quiet teachings you carry within. A soft hush falls as you step beneath the willow's draping boughs. Once more, the world's edges softening into gentle curves of green and gold. Dew from the leaves drips into a shallow pool at your feet, each drop like a tiny bell awakening the silence. You bend to lift one in your palm, feeling its cool weight, and recall the teaching of small awakenings, that every moment of awareness, however brief, can ring clear through the mind's quiet halls. What small bell might you ring today to stir presence within? Straight ahead, a narrow woodland path beckons, carpeted in fallen petals that cushion your steps like a whispered invitation. You follow their pastel trail upward, noticing how each petal, though destined to fade, remains vivid in the moment it rests beneath your foot. In that contrast of beauty and ephemerality, you meet the teaching of impermanent brilliance, how life's brightest colors burn most fiercely when held lightly. You pause to breathe in the trail's fading perfume, letting gratitude fill you for every petal's brief gift. At the path's crest, you emerge into a hidden hollow where lanterns hang from low branches in delicate clusters, their light warm and unwavering in the gathering dusk. You step into their glow and feel the teaching of communal light, that many small flames together can brighten even the deepest night. You stand quietly among them, letting their collective glow infuse your chest with gentle warmth. What shared light will you kindle with others when you return to the wider world? The lantern-lit hollow leads you to a simple stone seat carved with lotus blossoms. You sit and close your eyes, resting both palms on the cool surface. In the darkness behind your lids, the lantern's glow becomes an inner flame, inviting you deeper into stillness. You feel your breath slow, each inhale a rising flame, each exhale a soft radiance spreading through your limbs. In this silent fusion of inner and outer light, you touch the teaching of inner refuge, that peace need not be found, but unveiled within the heart's quiet sanctuary. When you finally open your eyes, the lantern's glow seems to pulse in time with your own steady heartbeat. You stand and follow a winding stair of moss-covered stone descending toward a gentle brook whose waters gleam like liquid silver. You kneel at its edge and dip your fingers into the current, feeling its cool flow guide you once more into presence. As the silver currents swirl around your hand, you recall the teaching of flowing with change, how water, though formless, finds its path with effortless grace. Rising from the brook, you carry the soft glow of lanterns and the brook's silver song in your veins as you step onto a final boardwalk that leads you back through whispering reeds and moonlit grasses. Each footfall brings you closer to rest, each breath deeper into the night's embrace. And here, as the boardwalk ends beneath the willow's arch, you pause, knowing that beyond this final threshold, sleep awaits with open arms, ready to cradle you in the seamless weave of presence and peace. A gentle hush settles as you step beyond the willow's arch, entering a meadow where moonlight and shadow play across blades of grass like soft silver embroidery. Each breath you draw here tastes of dew and night air, grounding you in the simple wonder of being alive. You pause to press your palm to the cool earth, feeling its steady heartbeat beneath your hand, an unspoken promise of support. What comfort arises when you remember the world itself holds you always. Ahead, a narrow trail of flat stones leads you toward a circle of birch trunks, whose white bark glows softly in the pale light. You walk between them, each step a quiet prayer, and notice how the air seems to hum with unvoiced song. In that humming, you recall the teaching of unspoken communion, that heart speaks to heart without words. You close your eyes and lift your face to the sky, letting the silent melody wash through every cell. What heart song emerges when you listen without expecting? When you open your eyes again, you find a low wooden bench beside a tiny spring bubbling from the earth. You sit and cup the clear water in your hands, raising it to your lips with reverence. As the cool liquid washes down, you sense the teaching of renewal in every sip. Each moment offers a fresh beginning if you choose to taste it. You pour the remaining water into the grass, watching the blades bow in grateful acceptance. What new beginning stirs within you now? Rising, you follow a path bordered by night-blooming honeysuckle, whose fragrance drifts like soft poetry. You inhale its sweetness deeply, letting it fill your chest with gentle joy. In that joy, you meet the teaching of fragrant generosity, that when you share your own sweetness, the world blooms in response. You tuck the memory of this scent within your heart, knowing you can recall it whenever you seek solace. The trail leads next to a small stone cottage, whose door stands ajar, light spilling from within. You step inside to find a single candle burning beside an open window, its flame steady against the night breeze. A cup of lavender tea rests on a rough wooden table. You pour and lift it to your lips, tasting the calm release of lavender's gentle grace. In the candle's glow, you see the teaching of simple solace. Peace often comes in humble offerings. You finish the tea, feeling its warmth settle into your bones. Stepping out once more, you carry the candle's inner flame and the tea's soothing grace with you. You wander until you reach a wooden bridge arched over a silent pool. You cross it slowly, each footfall echoing like a soft bell. On the far side, fireflies rise to greet you, their light, dancing like tiny lanterns in the cool air. You stand among them, letting their flicker remind you of the interconnected glow we share. What shared light will you tend when you next meet another soul? Continuing on, the forest opens into a clearing bathed in starlight so bright you feel as if you could reach out and touch the heavens. You lie upon a soft bed of grass, arms outstretched, and gaze upward as constellations wheel silently overhead. In their vast pattern, you touch the teaching of cosmic belonging, that you are as much a part of the night sky as the stars themselves. Your breath slows to the pulse of the heavens, each exhale carrying you deeper into the intimate infinity between earth and sky. And here, beneath the unfolding tapestry of stars, you let every thought fall away, every tension dissolve, and you drift on the gentle current of pure awareness, carried ever onward, ever inward, until sleep's tender veil enfolds you completely. A soft hush settles as the last star ebbs beneath the horizon's glow. Yet within you, the universe still pulses in quiet harmony. You rise from the grass and follow a winding path edged with moonlit blossoms whose petals close gently at dawn's approach. Each drooping bloom whispers the teaching of natural cycles, that every ending births a beginning and every departure carries the seed of return. You pause to touch a closing flower, bowing your head in gratitude for its nightly gift. What cycle will you honor as today unfolds? Continuing onward, the path leads you to a low wooden pier, extending into a misty marsh, where dawn's first light shimmers on still water. You step onto the pier and sit at its edge, legs dangling above the glassy surface. In the pale glow, you see the reflection not only of the sky, but of your own calm face, reminding you of the teaching of self-recognition. To know yourself clearly is to see the world without distortion. You breathe in the misty air, letting clarity settle into your bones. What truth will you carry forward when the mist lifts fully? As the sun's gentle warmth begins to touch the world, you stand and walk back along the boardwalk, through reeds that nod in silent farewell. Each rustle seems a blessing upon your steps, a promise that the peace you have gathered here remains yours to keep. And as you step off the final plank onto soft earth, you feel sleep's gentle partner wakefulness welcome you with open arms. Your journey through night's teachings now returns you to the day, carrying the quiet roots of presence within you wherever you go. You pause at the edge of the marsh, inhaling the gentle warmth of dawn's first light as it spreads across sky and water alike. Behind you, the reeds bow in silent salute. Before you, the day awaits with infinite possibility. In this quiet threshold, you touch the teaching of seamless transition, that sleep and waking night and day are woven of the same gentle cloth. Carry this knowing in your heart as you step forward, ever present, ever awake, ever at peace. The morning air carries a hush of remembrance as you step onto a soft carpet of moss beyond the marsh's edge. Each footfall is cushioned, and you sense the teaching of gentle grounding. No rush, no urgency, only the steady support beneath. You pause to press your palm against the moss, feeling its springy warmth, and breathe in the day's tender promise. What steady root might you plant in your own life today? Ahead, a narrow lane of flowering hedgerows leads to a low stone wall topped with ivy. You trace your fingertips along the weathered stones, marveling at how vines climb without force, only by intimate contact and tender patience. In that silent climb, you meet the teaching of gradual growth. Lasting change unfolds through continuous gentle effort. You bow your head to the ivy, honoring its quiet persistence. How might you tend your own growth with the same care? Beyond the wall, a gentle slope rises to a hill where a ring of ancient standing stones awaits. You walk through the circle and stand at its center, arms relaxed at your sides. The stones hold the hush of centuries, and in their stolid presence, you discover the teaching of timeless witness. To observe without judgment, simply hold space for what arises. You close your eyes and let the stones' silent vigil infuse you with equanimity. What calm witness can you bring to your own thoughts today? A soft breeze stirs the grasses around the circle, carrying the faint scent of distant blossoms. You inhale deeply and feel how each breath knits together inner and outer worlds. In that joining, you touch the teaching of embodied awareness, that peace is not somewhere else, but lives within the very fabric of your own presence. You stand in stillness, letting breath and breeze become one continuous thread. When you finally step from the stone circle, you feel a seamless flow, guiding you back toward life's unfolding day. Each step carries you forward with the quiet wisdom you have gathered, the lightness of simply being, the strength of gentle effort, the clarity of compassionate presence. And as the sun rises fully over the meadow ahead, you carry these teachings within ever your silent companions as you move gracefully into the gentle rhythm of wakeful life. A soft warmth settles on your skin as you leave the stone circle behind, guiding you down a grassy knoll toward a grove of silver birches whose trunks gleam like sentinels in early light. Each step is measured reverent, your connection to earth and breath deepening in tandem. You pause beneath one trunk, placing a hand on its smooth bark and sensing its quiet strength. In that touch, you meet the teaching of mutual support. Just as tree roots entwine to hold soil in place, so compassion and community sustain every life. What small act of kindness will you root today in the soil of another's heart? Continuing on, you enter a meadow striped with rows of lavender and sage, their blooms nodding gently in the soft breeze. You draw near and inhale deeply, letting the mingled scents dissolve any lingering tension. In this fragrant stillness, you encounter the teaching of present fullness. Abundance arises when you attend fully to the senses. You close your eyes, letting lavender's calm and sage's clarity wash over you, and commit to bringing this sensory presence into each conversation and choice. Ahead, a narrow path edged with wild roses leads to a low stone bench beside a tranquil pond. You sit and rest your palms on the weathered surface, feeling the bench's cool solidity beneath you. The pond's mirror surface holds the sky and your reflection in equal measure. In this shared image, you perceive the teaching of reflective clarity. To see yourself clearly is to understand your place within the whole. You watch a single rose petal drift on the water, and with it, each self-limiting belief falls away, dissolving into the pond's vast openness. Rising, you follow a deer-worn trail that threads into a stand of cedar whose fragrance rises like incense. You step beneath the canopy and feel the teaching of sacred space. Every breath becomes a silent chant, every footfall a bow of gratitude. You inhale cedar's cool earthiness, letting its calm root you deeper into presence. What silent mantra will you carry in your heart as you move through the day? Leaving the cedars, you emerge onto a gently sloping hill, crowned by a single white oak. Its broad canopy offers shade like an embrace. You walk to its trunk and lean back, feeling the teaching of supportive stillness. Sometimes the greatest strength is stillness itself. You close your eyes, letting the oak's time-honed calm seep into your bones, anchoring you in poised tranquility. From beneath the oak, a hidden path descends toward a sunlit clearing filled with dancing grasses and fluttering butterflies. You follow their light-hearted dance, inviting your heart to join in their playful rhythm. In their flight, you meet the teaching of joyful ease. Celebration need not be loud to be profound. You laugh softly at the butterflies' carefree arcs and vow to carry this lightness into every moment of your waking life. As you step from the clearing, the world around you feels alive with gentle guidance and quiet wisdom. Each element you have encountered, the trees, the waters, the stones, the flowers, has imparted its lesson through simple presence. And in this seamless flow, you continue onward, every breath and footstep, a living echo of the peace that lies within you, guiding you softly toward whatever horizon awaits. Your body settles into a gentle hush, each muscle unwinding like a slowly unspooling thread. You notice the rising and falling of your chest as a soft tide carrying away the last echoes of thought with each exhale. Your awareness rests in the space between breaths, where time pauses and a quiet clarity blooms. In this tender silence, you feel gratitude for every step that led you here, each lantern-lit glade, each whispering leaf, each pool of moonlit water woven into the seamless tapestry of your presence. A gentle warmth radiates from your core, spreading through your limbs like a soothing balm. You sense the earth beneath you, firm and unwavering, offering silent support without asking anything in return. The sky above, now pale with approaching dawn, lends its vast stillness to your mind, inviting every fleeting worry to dissolve into open space. In this moment, there is nothing to do but rest, to breathe softly and simply be. You allow your thoughts to drift like autumn leaves on a calm pond. Each one touches. The water creates a ripple and fades into stillness. There is no need to chase them or hold them. They unfold and return to the gentle rhythm of your quiet mind. You rest here cradled by the world's gentle song, feeling how every element, stone, water, sky, and breath joins in a single chorus of peace. As your awareness softens further, you realize that this deep calm is not a destination, but an ever-present sanctuary you carry within. Whenever you choose, you can return to this place of effortless rest, where the simple act of breathing becomes an offering to your own well-being. And if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.